All right, we're on part 2 on how to paint your eggs. All right, how I paint my eggs, but if you want to use some of my ideas, you're more than welcome. And we showed you how to do the houses, the roofs, and all of that. We're going to finish this home up by putting the little door on. And let's hear it. What shape is the door? Right, it's a rectangle. And it's just a matter of a dark colored door in a rectangle. Okay. Now, since this one is now dry, the one that we actually started on before, I'll show you the Saltbox house. And what we do is we wipe off that paintbrush, we shut the red, we open up the black, and I always pull out a little bit of the black with a paintbrush, and like so, and put it in my palette and mix it with some water so I can make it go a lot further than it would normally go. And if there's any excess paint, I just put the brush in the water, shut the black paint, and now I'm ready to go. So, I gotta find my little teeny brush. There it is. Dab my little teeny brush in a little bit of water. Get some of that black paint on there. And we're gonna go right into putting on the roof of our Saltbox house on this egg. And as I showed you on the Christmas, grungy tags I painted, not much difference here, if any at all. It's a straight line. You come up a little bit on both sides. You go across. You need a chimney. Put a little line up there, a little line over there. And you're going to be amazed that once these get dipped in the lacquer, how much this color pops. Allergies again. All right, so this one, instead of making squares like I did on the tag, I'll show you that you can make it like this too. You can just make lines and make 2 rows of them. That looks like a Saltbox house too. You can make a Saltbox house in just about any kind of design you want, really. And again, a long rectangle door. Very easy to do, okay? So, let's go back to our goose egg, and we've got our church done, and we've got the house done. Now, I would normally, do everything all the way around the egg, but I wanted to show you some of the basics of other things I do on the egg. Like right now, let's put a fence, okay? So, we got our goose egg. I say it needs a fence from the back of the church to the house. And I didn't know that I was going to do that. I didn't pre-place this house and this church so that it would end up having to have a fence that attached to it. I just figured that out later on. And again, it's just a line, and we're going to just drag a line from about, a little bit below the roof, and we're just going to bring it all the way down to the house. Make sure you get enough wetness on your brush there, but enough paint as well. Not too much water so it doesn't drip. And then follow that same line below it. And then, here we go. Straight line, straight line, straight line. Follow the curve, straight line, straight line, straight line. And we've got ourselves a fence that goes from the church to the back of the house. Maybe it's going behind the church. Maybe it's going to go behind the house, okay? It's all up to your imagination. All right, now let's make a bush, okay? And let's say I want to make a bush on this one. So what I will do is take my little brush again that's flat on one side and square when you look at it the front way, dip it in a little water, and we're going to need some of this darker green that we used before. And the background on this goose egg is the same as the background on this one, except I just use green for like a green pasture instead of more like a marigold or mustard color. I find that the marigold stands out a little bit better sometimes depending on what you do, but the green works fine too. As you can see with this finished hen egg that I did, I like the way that the green looks. And this is a finished product, and this is what we're doing right now. This type of thing. This one I did a lot more detail on that Saltbox house. I put little flowered bushes and a star. And there's just 2 windows on either side of the door. Like I said, you can do different things. This one's got a lot of square for the windows. This church is completely different. It's got a little stained glass window up top, and you know, it's just everything. Each egg is completely different from another. It just depends on what I feel like doing that day. So I've got my little flat brush wet. I'm going to dip it in just the corner of it. I'm going to dip in this green paint, which could use a stirring up. But you see, I'm just not that anal. Don't really care. And I'm just going to make a half circle. Okay, let's make one that's coming from the house out here. Okay, and as you can see, I am not too worried about where it ends up. I'm actually painting this in such weird positions right now. But we're going to stop there and come down. That's going to dry up afterwards and be lighter in color. And let's say I just want to make a couple of random bushes up here on the hill. So now I'll make a half circle, okay? Complete half, a complete half. And that one's really light, so I'll put some more on the corner of that brush to bring out the top. Bring out the top, you know. And I might even just do this and fill it in, okay? And later on, those bushes are going to end up looking like these bushes on this egg. As you can see, a little one at the top there and a little one on the side of that house. And then inside those bushes, and I'll even bring these down here, the green down in from here. You know? As a matter of fact, underneath that salt box house, I think I'll get a little bit of this brown and really water it up and give myself some depth underneath that box. Oh, too much paint? I usually just go in and dab it with my finger, wipe my finger on the cloth. Just give it some depth, do it that way. Wipe off that brush. I'm always washing brushes and dabbing them on the thing so that they don't get all, you know, I don't use a brush that's already been pre-used and then it looks terrible. All right, now this little teeny brush is coming in handy again. This time I'm just dabbing it just slightly in that brown because I usually work upside down doing these. To do the bushes, you know, I'm just going to make like, you know, a little trunk, and I'm just going to really just pull some lines out to make it look like there's branches on the inside of that bush. You see what I'm doing? Am I too close for this macro? I'm not sure. I never know till I play it back. And so we've got some, as that man on TV used to say a long time ago, some happy little branches in the happy little bush. I don't know if you ever watched his show. I used to love watching him make his happy little mountains and his happy little tree. And we're going to do the same thing here. I'm just dabbing a little bit of the tip of that brush in that brown, the watered down brown. And once again, we're just going to barely have that tip touching the egg. Just enough for it to almost be dry brushed onto there. Just to give it a little bit of something in that bush, okay? And let's see, should we go back to our, here, we'll go back here. This is all dry. I can put my fingers all over it already, okay? So now I don't have to worry about where I hold the egg. So what should we make next? We know that they would normally be bushes on here. I would put bushes, okay? We've got a little depth going on. And let's say we do some of the sheep. You want to do a person first or a sheep? Let's do a person, because those are very interesting. And I'm just going to use a little bit of my marigold, because I don't want little pink heads all over my thing. So for the heads, I mixed a tiny bit of the brown with a tiny bit of that marigold. And I even do that on the green ones. And just enough to get something so that you can see that there's a head, but it doesn't look like it's, you know, any particular ethnic background, okay? So let's see if this works to what I'm saying now. So let's say we're going to make a little person standing in front of the church. So there's a little head, and there it is. That's it. You're making a little circle. That's what makes the head. There's two heads. I'm going to make a little girl and a little boy so you can see those. And then later on, you can put them wherever you want on your eggs. And we're off to part 3